Out here rigging the boat up, ready to go in. It's pretty strong, 15, maybe even 20 knots. Today I'm going to practice out some emergency procedures, rudder failure in particular. I'm going to test out a new bungee system that I'm setting up for the boat, and I'm going to try operating the boat from the front cockpit. While I'm heading out, I'll show you guys my experimental bungee system. I'm just in the process of trying to make my boat more seaworthy, doing various modifications and trying things out. Today I'm going to try and fix the bloody bungees. Okay, so this bungee system's worn out. I don't like it anyway. It doesn't hold the anchor on properly, and it causes it to bounce around. That's going to break this piece off eventually as it wobbles around. That's what happened on my last boat. So I want to come up with a new system. Another issue with this is if you have the bungee break for any reason, or anything goes on it, like the whole thing will just fall off, which is not what you want. So I want to come up with a system which is tighter, which is redundant, and overall is just better, so it's easily fixable. So first problem is these little nuts here is what holds your bungees down onto the actual outrigger itself, and you've got to pull them on and off every time you do an adjustment. I don't want to be doing that because they wear out. So I'm going to put a loop of something through here which I then attach onto. That way I'll never have to take them off again. So that's project number one. So this is a length of nice strong marine hank. It'd be definitely suitable for the job if I can make it fit. Look at that. So double over, the hank fits through the eyelet, which is really good. I just need to tie it off at the bottom. Just making sure that the knot fits, and then pulling it through, getting the length right, and chopping off the excess. Melting the frayed end just to make sure it's nice and secure. Then I tie a knot in the loose end, melt the knot, make sure that it can never come unravelled. Installing the eyelets into the boat itself. The knots do stick out the bottom a bit, but I found as I screw it in they compress. I hate using the pliers to screw these in. Every time I do it I cause a little bit of damage, which is why I want this to be the last time I screw these in. I want to run two independent bungees, one from each eyelet, onto the pin. So I need to have two loops hooking onto the pin, and the best way I can think of doing that is to use two loops of line. So I'm just testing out a few different grades of line to see if it'll work, and this particular grade looks really good. Also testing to see if I can run a couple of zip ties over the pin, just to see if that might work. Might make it simpler, but it doesn't look like they fit. I'm going to try running the zip ties through the eyelets at the bottom, and I can then leave the zip ties relatively loose and slowly tighten them up as the bungees stretch out, which happens over time. Might make life simpler. Making some loops out of the line, just melting the knots, whacking a zip tie through each loop to act as a handle so I can get it on and off. So I brought my loop back outside, hooked it onto the pin, and then I get some Bunnings shock cord, and I do 4 loops between the main loop and the eyelet. So with 4 loops there's lots of strength there, and then I just tie her off with a reef knot. That's not what we want. My zip tie broke that I was using as a handle, can't take the strain, so I put a heavier duty zip tie on there. So this one I can't break, I put a lot of pressure on here, it seems really solid. Installed the front bungee as well on its loop, and that one hooks on nicely. So these may be weak spots, we'll find out, I suppose. My plan is to actually add an extra piece of line, a very thin one, goes through the knot and loops on there as a backup, just in case. This should be pretty strong though. Could potentially not even worry about these and just run the bungee straight through those. These make it adjustable, but yeah, I could just run it straight through. I don't know if these are weak or not. They seem to be pretty strong. I can't physically break them, so strong. See how they go. On for a sea trial. So I keep the rear bungee hooked on and the front bungee loose in when I pull the boat out, because the front one goes under a lot more tension when the hammers are folded in. Hooking it on now seems pretty secure. It's a little bit loose, so I might do some adjustments to get it to exactly the right tension. That's nice and solid. I can't push it off, doesn't move at all. Looks good. At sea in reasonably rough conditions, they just sit there like a rock. You'd think I was in a pond. This is about half a metre to 3/4 metre waves that I'm going through at the moment. It's not moving at all. Okay, now that the experiment was successful, I'm going to do a bit of a production line and install a whole bunch of them. So I'm not going to have the cable tie as an adjuster. I'll just have the loops through these plugs here attached to the hammers, bungee running through that, it's easily adjustable, and then have a bunch of these hooking onto the pins with a zip tie as a handle. So yeah, just going to make a bunch of them. They seem to work, they're nice and sturdy. Okay, so I've installed all of them now. I didn't worry about the second cable tie at the bottom. It's just loop, bungee, loop, and one cable tie just act as a handle to get it on, because they're nice and tight. And these are really easy to adjust, so I'll adjust them when I get her out next. Put knots in the end of the cable ties here and here so that they can't slip out. Sorry, put knots in the end of the bungees so they can't slip out, and then go from there. So I've just jumped in the front cockpit to have a bit of a steer. It noticeably affects the trim of the boat. I've actually got the front end of this Hackers deep in the water, whereas the rear end's well out of the water. So yeah, I'm relatively heavy, and me sitting in the front definitely pushes the front end down quite a lot. Feels quite different here. Right, let's simulate an emergency. So I'm in fairly rough conditions. There's a reasonable amount of wind. I'm simulating a rudder failure, just let my rudder off. So I'm reefing in the sail a bit. That bloody rudder cable's jammed, but there, up it goes. So attempting paddle steering here. I'm told that if you brace the oar against your body, have it in the water as far back as you can get it and braced against the edge of the boat, you can control and steer the boat. You need to swap sides with angles, so I'm just going to have a play and see how it goes. I'm managing to turn the boat here, turning her back in towards shore, which is good. It was out of control for a minute there. Because these Hobie paddles are a bit curved, I find the twist on the paddle makes a big difference to its angle. I sort of cup it facing outwards to get more aggression in the turn, or I flip it around the other way for a bit more of a subtle turn, or just to hold a position. The boat sails all right, and also moves forward under Mirage Drive propulsion, pedaling away. I can't bring her up into the wind though, so if I have a rudder failure, I'm not going to be able to move upwind, I'm not going to be able to tack. I can go parallel to the wind, I can run downwind. Quite controllable in those directions, and still get some reasonable speed. I don't think I'd be able to tack up a canal or anything like that. It just wouldn't be possible this way. So this works. I just need to make sure I'm either upwind or crosswind from somewhere that I can land the boat. Make sure that, I'm not downwind of somewhere I need to land. So if you like this kind of positive adventure content, don't be a slug. Hit the like button, subscribe, comment. These things keep me motivated to make these videos. And check out a few of these other adventures.